My name is Karl-Johan Dahlstrom. I'm heading up the Developer Relations Department within Sony Ericsson. And this session, I choose a title, Why Collaborate with Sony Ericsson? Because in the end, for a developer, what means the most is how do I make money on the stuff I'm creating? How can I be successful and continue to do the work that I think is really, really fun? And quite often when I talk to developers, they know most of the basic things they can do on their own. Optimization, Android market, we will touch a little bit upon that as well. But they forget a little bit that we, as a manufacturer, we spend a lot of money on marketing, and apps and games are actually a big part of the offering to the consumer. So before I get started in here, how many of you are actually developers coding? Oh, that's great. So how many are driving their own partner management and doing their business development in here? Almost the same people. That's good. Then we have some really innovative people in here. That's great. So the session here outlines a little bit. At first, I will give a little bit of the introduction to Sony Ericsson, and then talk a little bit about the offering from our side to developers, and dig deeper into some of the examples and help you understand a little bit of the business cases, why you can work with a manufacturer like Sony Ericsson. So to get started here, Sony Ericsson's ambition is to become the #1 smartphone choice for consumers on Android OS. So if you translate this, Android is our preferred platform, and that's the only platform that we're working with today. Just wanted to bring that up. This is a slide that shows how we build our phones. I don't want to touch too deep into this, but it is kind of interesting if you start thinking of how we position our phones. You would see over here that we have one big part that is Sony, the Soniness in our phones. And that means both the hardware with a Bravia engine to power up the screen itself, XMOR sensors. So these kind of technologies are built into our devices. And then we also have Sony Entertainment Network services. So we also have Sony services into our devices. All of that is then based upon an Android platform, where I would say that's powered by you guys. It's powered by developers. Everybody knows that developer mindshare is so important for any OS to succeed. So that's why I say that you have the developers over here. That's a really big part. You have the Soniness that we are creating, and then Sony Ericsson, soon to become Sony Mobile Communication, is integrating that into a really nice package with all the user interfaces and other things that we are creating ourselves. So digging a little bit deeper into this, showing a little bit of the portfolio of phones that we have, and how many of you are launching applications or services outside of US? A few of you. So there is quite a few that target mainly US in here, I would say. So to be even more relevant in US, because we have not had that much of a presence in US before, we have had Xperia Play lately with AT&T and Verizon, and before that X10 with AT&T. Now at CES, we announced Xperia Ion with AT&T. It's our first LTE phone, and then will be carried by AT&T. It's a dual-core processor, 1.5 gigahertz, 1 gigabyte of RAM, Adreno 220 CPU or GPU in it. So it's powered then by the Qualcomm platform 8260. So the Qualcomm person just before me, we have a lot of cooperation when it comes to both partner management with partners and game providers, app providers that the Qualcomm is working with and that we are working with. So there is a bridge in between us and Qualcomm. Beside that, we also launched the Xperia S. That is also the same platform, but it's not LTE capable. It will be available globally in Q1, Xperia S, and Xperia Ion is second quarter this year. So the phones to the left are the 2011 portfolio that is already out in the market, where we have a big focus in the US on Xperia Play, which is something that we have been driving heavily from a developer program, working with game developers. And that's something I will share a little bit more of how we've been working with game developers. So beside that, we have a Smartwatch. Smartwatch is, you could refer to it as a second screen to your big phone. so that you have a small screen on your wrist to really get notifications and show the things that you don't want to see, or if you don't want to pick up your phone, you can get it directly into your watch. And that's a Bluetooth connection between the smartwatch and the Xperia phone. It can also run with all the other manufacturers as well, of course. It requires a software called Liveware Manager, and for a developer to take any advantage of and develop for the smartwatch, you can download the SDK already from developer.sonyericsson.com. So there is some opportunities over here to develop for a smartwatch. Here we have a smart wireless headset that was also announced here at CES. It's a Bluetooth headset with a built-in MP3 player and an FM radio. So you can both stream music from your phone into your headphones, but also act as a standalone device. There is also an SDK and enablers for this one. The last one over here is Nfc Tags. There is no SDK for those, but I thought it was good to mention it, since all these phones also supports NFC, to see a little bit what you can do with NFC, what kind of services and applications you can come up with. And these phones will launch with Gingerbread, Xperia S and Xperia Ion, but they will very soon be upgraded to Ice Cream Sandwich. That will be communicated when we will have that upgraded. And the Qualcomm presentation touched a little bit upon this, that the phone is one part of the things of the information flow that you are consuming throughout your daily life. You have all the other screens as well that you actually interact with. So I will not dig deeper into connected screens in this presentation, but that's definitely a topic that we are looking more and more into, of how we can work with developers that actually have some kind of cross-screen strategy or cross-screen service that we would then be really interested in promoting, and because that leverages us even more. And there we have a good collaboration with the rest of the Sony family, as you can see here in the back. And I think we are really well positioned to really take this on with the help of Sony. And we also soon become Sony Mobile Communication, of course. So that was a little bit of the background of the phones and the services we provide and the new stuff that we have announced here at CES. If we dig a little bit more into the offering to developers, I tried to make this very simple, so I put it in 3 different pillars. If we start with the pillar to the left, tools. We provide at Developer World the tools needed to start developing for our phones. I mean, they are based on Android, of course, so you would find the normal Android SDK on developer.android.com to download it from Google. So, I mean, it is the standard tools that we support, but beside that, you need to download the specifications for the phones to understand what are the different differentiation with the different phones, to see if there's anything you need to consider in your application or your service. We also have a collaboration with Unity, Havoc, Marmalade, and other middleware providers when it comes to game development. And there you could find more information on developer.sonyericsson.com. All the information, we try to have it as updated as possible. And from what I heard from developers that we talk to daily, they really appreciate that we try to update our developer portal as often as possible to really have really new and fresh information up there. One thing that we should not forget when it comes to the tools part is that the phone is a tool itself. And that is that quite a few developers, they require the phone because they want to support it and make sure that their content runs on it. So we also have a phone loaner program here in the US and in Canada. So people can loan phones from us to make sure that their application and services runs. So once you have all the tools needed to start developing, we also have a developer support, of course, where you can reach us. And if you have any questions on specific things with our phones, we are there to listen and try to help. We have a premium partner program as well, where we have a signing NDA with different partners, where we have a direct connection, of course, as well. But one of the things that strike quite a few people is that we don't have our own forums at developer.sonyericsson.com. And the reason for that is that we go under the mantra, go where the people are. And we know that there are many more developers going to Google Groups, Stack Overflow, Xda Developer Forum, and asking questions to see how they could solve their problems. So that's where we try to build a lot of our activity, by being part of those forums as well. So I will show you some examples of what we have been doing in these forums going forward. The last part here is the one that I think we could help you the most with, and that's the promotion part. We are working closely with market units around the world, where they position the phones. They do use applications, games, and services to position the phones to the consumer. I will give you some examples later on through the session here of how we work with our local market units to really emphasize and actually promote applications and games in a really good way. I also will go through a little bit what we have on device. That's become a little bit something that everybody is doing now. They're creating their own app portal. They actually have Android Market in the backbone or different other stores. But those are content that runs really well on the specific devices, and so have we. And I will show you a little bit later what that looks like. So that's the promotional part. We should not forget our online community as well, that we are using quite heavily. We are one of the manufacturers with most followers on Facebook. We try to use that as a channel to reach out with small messages about applications or games that we think is really great for our devices and we want to promote. So coming back again to the tools, I mentioned that, it's still standard Android tools needed to develop. So there is no charge to develop and start developing for our phones. You use the standard Android SDK, or if you're into more native gaming development, you can of course use the NDK. There we have some tutorials on how to use the NDK, for instance, to access the gamepad on Xperia Play. And again, those tutorials you would find at sonyericsson.com/developer. And once again, I just wanted to emphasize again that we have a phone loaner program where you can loan a phone from us that is up and running. And that can you also find at sonyericsson.com/developer. And lastly, we have extended SDKs. I mentioned the Smartwatch SDK. We have a Timescape SDK as well. So there are some extensions that you can use specifically for our phones. And you would find that information as well at developer.sonyericsson.com. How many of you have been using the NDK? So there is a few, one person over here that knows that part as well, because then you go much more into the lower level of programming. I just wanted to get a feeling for what we have here in the audience. Also mentioned some of the developer tools for gaming. We have specifically been working with Unity to optimize their middleware platform to support our phones, to optimize it for the GPU that we're using. So there's a lot of work being put into that. We also work with Havoc for their gaming engine, and with Qualcomm, we have a Adreno profiler. Qualcomm can explain much better how that works, but it profiles your application to see where you have the heaviest GPU load and what you can do with different textures to improve that. And then also supporting Marmalade is the third big gaming SDK that we support. So the reason why I have the gaming SDK up here is because gaming has been such a big focus for us. But that is, we will continue to have a really big gaming focus, and we want to be the leader in gaming. But now we have built this platform and learned how we are to promote games to consumers. Now we want to use that platform and start promoting applications and other services as well. One of the proof points to that is that we are here at CES, and we are standing in the Ant Plus pavilion with our developer program. So we meet quite a few of fitness and health and wellness application developers here to understand what kind of services they bring or want to bring to the market. Are there anyone in here working with sport, fitness, health related applications or services? No one in here? No. A little bit at least. So, we are looking for application and games and services that will make our phones even more attractive. And now that's an area that we have been looking into. I mentioned this before, that we don't have our own forums. We go where the people are. And definitely we'll be very active now at the Xda Developer Forum. Do everybody know what the Xda Developer Forum is in here? I hope so. Good. It's a huge community that helps each other, I would say, and we're really proud to be part of that and helping developers in that forum as well. So you could say that we support two types of developers. You have the app and service developers, or game developer service, game developers, and then we have the community-driven Android developers that's really creating their own Android services, and we are supporting those as well. How many know of ce-ml mod in here? There is a few that know ce-ml in here. That's a community-driven Android, and we are supporting some of the indie developers in that community for our phones. So yeah, we have a slide here where we actually got some really good feedback from the community, and they really loved us for being so open and trying to support this indie developer community. So that's really important for us to be active and be part of the big community out there. We have good applications and services that we think would leverage our phones even more. We of course talk to our partners and operators to see if that can be included in their offering as well. So again, it's all about you when we position the phones, I would say. You, the Sony-ness, and our design, and we all bring it together. Coming back again, we look at the key developer challenges, key dev challenges when trying to bring an app to the market. And that is the discovery and market exposure. So you can always work with optimized keyword search in Android market. I guess you have all been looking at that if you're developing for Android and seeing how you can optimize downloads. And also, the second part here is also really important, that you want to work with a community of users and encourage the right people to comment and buy, so that you are really addressing the right audience for your application and services in order to not get bad reviews and set the wrong expectations for the service. And that you can do via newsletters, YouTube videos, web pages, etc. And you can, of course, submit to third-party application stores as well. All of this to generate more visibility and more downloads. The part where we come in is when we start looking at what can we do for you and what can you do for us. The easiest way to express this is if your app or your service help us sell more phones, we will certainly help you sell more apps. If you just think about that, and when you pitch it and try to understand where we are, then it becomes easier for us to start looking at how can we help you get more visibility, maybe in our Facebook channel where we have 10 million or 6 million in the global Facebook channel, but additional 4 million in our local relevant Facebook channels as well. So we have a huge outreach that we can do on both the social platform, but also on other platforms, so like in the phone. These are all the different, I would say, enablers in the phone that the developer can make use of. Up to the left here, you have preloads. That's like the nirvana to a lot of developers. They really want to be preloaded on the devices. But I would almost like disagree. You cannot imagine how early your service needs to be ready before so it can be part of a preload. And we all know that the application and service market is running so fast now that the moment you're out with your application, maybe 2 weeks later you have an update. You have fixed some parts and maybe done another addition to it, and that's why it gets a little bit tricky with the preloading part. So instead then we have, for Xperia Play, we had a game recommender. So then you got top placement. As soon as you open Xperia Play, slide it open, you would get all the games that has been optimized for Xperia Play that we could promote. And that's how we've been working with developers to promote games for Xperia Play. A really good platform, and we have seen some really good numbers of generating more downloads. I don't have time to go through those today. I will instead focus a little bit on the Storefront widget. You would see here, this is a widget that is also at the first screen on the device. So these applications and services is over here, they're actually linked. I mean, those are on Android Market. So the moment you click on them, the downloads goes directly to Android Market. But we have found a way of promoting these applications and services to the end consumer. You also have a Sony Ericsson channel on Android market, where we can promote applications and games to the consumers. And this Sony Ericsson channel on Android market it's not in all our phones. The reason for that is that operators have their own. They have the first pick, so to say. If they have their own channel, it will be the operator channel on Android market. But on all the others, we are. And there you would see that I think altogether here, we have an outreach of at least 10 million phones where we can promote applications and services today, and that's growing day by day. Lastly, we have Play Now. It's our own third-party app store that is more complementary to Android market. I will not go into more details to that. You can find information how to submit to Play Now at developer.sonyericsson.com. The last part that we should not forget either, I touched a little bit upon it earlier, it's the operators. The operators, we have a really close collaboration with both AT&T and Verizon here in the US, and for both their channels. For instance, when we launched Xperia Play for Verizon, we helped a lot of game developers get into the Verizon channel, which can be cumbersome if you don't have those connections yourself. So that was a little bit of a summary on the device. If we then look at local and global marketing initiatives, we have, this is actually a leaflet. This is from Japan, where they promoted 20 apps, a leaflet in the box that was promoting apps and games for the phone when it was launching. We have the social platform, of course, to also promote applications and games. We have been running App of the Week or Game of the Week on Facebook, where we have 6 million fans following us. We have done press releases with different partners, definitely when it comes to the gaming part, but we're also looking to, as I mentioned, extend that into apps and other services as well. To the right, I just wanted to show you that apps and other services are actually promoted in store as well. Here you would see that was a selection done together with the operator, some applications for her and some applications for him, that we were promoting the phones along with that. Some short numbers here where we have been collaborating with a few. I cannot give you like everybody will have this amount more of downloads because you're collaborating with us. So I just pulled up a few examples of depending on what we do with them. It could be that we just promote them in the Sony Ericsson channel on Android market and they would see a 40% increase. Or if we have done even more, not only by promoting on the Sony Ericsson channel, we maybe have been also done some local marketing around it. And we have seen 4 times more downloads for Worldmate because of our promotion. AC Soft, 23% increase for just being part of the Sony Ericsson channel on Android market. And Cool Iris could see 88% increase for being part of us promotional platform. So if we're coming back again to where is then the open door for you to talk to us? Definitely at events like this, where we are present. You should definitely take the advantage of coming up and talking to us to see if there's anything we can do together. But also, we have launched for gaming, we have the Stand Out from the Crowd platform where we ask indie developers to tell us about their really innovative games that can be part of this big marketing machine. But because we cannot have and evaluate 100,000 applications or games that would be sent to us, we need to be very specific what we are looking for. That's why we have chosen this platform gaming, and we will extend that going further into the different areas we see around apps and services. And when we do this, we always work from a developer program perspective very closely with our partners and market units along the world. So to summarize this, I would say that we help you build a business case, looking at what you can do. You go to developer world to find all the tools, all the services, all the things needed to start developing. And then you have the open door to reach out to us. And finally, we hope that we could be able to promote you and help you get more downloads and more generate revenue for you. So I hope I've summarized a little bit of the different services that we can do together and that we can offer you that maybe you have not thought about that before, but the manufacturer is actually a big part of your distribution and the visibility. It could be a very big part. So Go to sonyericsson.com/developer to find all the different information, everything around our phones, all the different services, and also how to get to know us. So leverage Xperia Play on all the rest of the Xperia portfolio with us, and you find the information there. So yes, please, question. I mean, I showed you the second slide I showed. We had all the phones to the left. That was the 2011 portfolio that is already in the market. And then we announced 2 new phones for this year here at CES. So we have a lot of phones already out in the market, yes. Yes, it is. We actually have an article on developer.sonyericsson.com with sample code. So it's a good question. Thank you. Any more questions? Yes, please. No, we have actually a resource page as well, where we have been promoting different resources, which we have thought that would be really beneficial to game or app developers. So we have been promoting different services. We'll actually have a look at that to see which ones are most relevant to developers, to see how we can lift it up, because we tend to get quite a few now on the resources page. But first we try to collect it all together, but if you get too many, then it's hard to get a good overview. So we actually do evaluation to see which are the ones we should push harder for. But yes, we have such session. And again, we try to have as lively or as up-to-date developer platform as possible on developer.sonyericsson.com. Please. It's, again, a good question. Actually, I said that we only announced 2 phones here. That's not really true. We actually announced 4, because 2 of them were specific to the Japanese market, and 1 of them actually supports IR. It's the first phone that we have that supports IR. Beside that, we're also collaborating heavily now with Sony, the Sony Tablet, the Sony Walkman, and also Sony Internet TV powered by Google TV. Have been a collaboration partner with us. And the tablet supports IR. So we have been working together with the Sony Tablet team. Yes?
You had mentioned loan programs for US and Canada. Do you have, like, we're Mexico, do you have things like that for Mexico?
No, unfortunately, we don't have that for Mexico today. It's only been set up for US and Canada. It was a business decision because it's we cannot make it go together to send it across the world distributional-wise. But we have had the questions from market units actually shown interest now, because they also understand the power and the importance of developer mind shares. So they are setting up their own small little hubs, which we are supporting. So there's been discussions if we should extend phone loaner program to other markets as well. More questions? Yeah? Okay, thank you.